One of the things that has worked so well over the years for this orange criminal scumbag is that he floods the zone with bullshit. Every single day, we are inundated with just horrible things that he does or that he says or that he threatens to do. And the result of that is that it keeps his opposition off balance. It keeps them unable to focus on any one horrible thing. And so by the time people start focusing attention on one horrible thing that he says or does, he's already moved on to the next. And so your focus moves to that, and on and on and on. And so something that happens today is like old news and forgotten by tomorrow, no matter how horrible it is. And another thing is that he does truly horrible things. He's literally destroying this country on a daily basis. But not everything he says or does is actually destructive, even though it might sound like it is. A lot of the things that he does are complete nonsense. A lot of the things that he says and does are complete and utter nonsense. And they sound horrible and they look horrible, but when you really examine it, it's a big pile of nothing. And he does these nonsensical things that sound outrageous in order to distract from the truly horrible things that he's doing. And of course, to distract from Epstein. I mean, we can't ever lose sight of that, because he really did something awful. Almost certainly. And that is why he is trying desperately to cover this all up. And by the way, I read today that some of the Epstein victims will once again be holding a press conference in Washington this week. So try as he might to distract from that, that's not going away. Anyway, I want to give you an example of one of these nonsensical things that he does that sounds truly awful and, causes some people to react with alarm and to lose sight of some of these other things, like Trump's involvement with his best friend Jeffrey Epstein, or all these other things. I mean, he's destroying the economy. His poll numbers are cratering because he's destroying the economy. The things he's doing, using ICE, this militarized law enforcement agency that he is turning into his own personal army. I mean, the videos coming out of places like Chicago, it is hurting him. He is not doing anything to grow his base of support. Now, the cult loves all of this stuff. They don't care if the economy's crashing. They don't care about anything that he does. They love the fact that he's sending ICE in to arrest people unconstitutionally, illegally, without warrants, to disappear them, to beat the hell out of people in the street, innocent people. They love that. But most Americans don't. And while most Americans still haven't seen much of that yet, because people live in information silos and the mainstream media isn't really covering this to any great degree, a lot of people are unaware. But slowly but surely, this information is trickling out. These videos are making their way around, and people are reacting with outrage. And Trump is bleeding support. I saw an article this morning about all these well, not all these podcast bros, but podcast bros who were, all in for Trump in 2024 for completely ridiculous reasons, are turning on him because of all of the stuff that he's doing. Again, not all of them, but it's happening. Anyway, I want to give you an example of one of these nonsensical things. Now, this was a Truth Social post that he put up in the last couple days about flag burning. It's not the first time he's talked about flag burning, but here's what he wrote. To ICE, Border Patrol, law enforcement, and all U.S. military. As per my August 25th, 2025 executive order, please be advised that from this point forward, anybody burning the American flag will be subject to 1 year in prison. You will be immediately arrested. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, this is complete nonsense. It is designed to make you outraged. It's designed to get people focused on that so that you're not focused on Epstein. You're not focused on what he's doing to American citizens on the streets of America with his masked ICE thugs. It's designed to distract you from the fact that your grocery prices continue to rise, that he's destroying the economy. He wants you focused on this because his cult will love it, and it will also keep the cult distracted from the fact that their lives are being ruined too by his destruction of the economy and everything else. But this is complete and utter nonsense. First of all, this is not a crime. Burning the flag is not a crime. Okay, there is no crime of flag burning. This is the Supreme Court. This is settled Supreme Court precedent. If someone is burning the flag as an expression to make some sort of a point, that's 100% First Amendment protected speech. That's number one. Number two, no one's burning the American flag anyway. Do you see a lot of people out there burning the American flag? This is a made-up issue, completely made up. Nobody's doing this. So that's a couple things. Now, but to the substance of this, he references his executive order from August 25th, 2025. Okay, he says, as per my executive order. Okay, I have read this executive order. I have it right here. And his executive order doesn't even pretend to make flag burning a crime. Because what he wants you to say, and I saw this all over social media after he posted this, was to say, this is outrageous. The president can't make things crimes. He can't, he can't pass criminal laws on his own. He can't arrest people for First Amendment protected activity. That was the reaction. And it's an appropriate reaction if that's what he was actually doing. That's not what he's actually doing. That's what his Truth Social post made it sound like he's doing, but he's not doing that. The executive order says, hey, if somebody's committing a crime and there's an American flag being burned in the commission of some other crime, we should prosecute that. Whoopie-doo. Aren't they doing that already? Okay, and it goes out of its way. Here's what it says. The Attorney General shall prioritize the enforcement to the fullest extent possible of our nation's criminal and civil laws against acts of American flag desecration. This is the important part, that violate applicable content-neutral laws while causing harm unrelated to expression consistent with the First Amendment. This may include, but is not limited to, violent crimes, hate crimes, illegal discrimination against American citizens. Look, I'll give you an example. Say you take an American flag and you beat a police officer with it. And then how about this? You set the American flag on fire and then you beat a police officer with it, right? While the American flag is burning, you're beating them with the flagpole, okay? Sort of like what the Trump cult did on January 6th, except for the part where they lit him on fire. That didn't happen, but they were beating police officers with American flags. Say they did it, but the flag was on, they were burning the flag while they were doing it. What they're saying here is, in this executive order, if that happens, we should prosecute that person. Well, no shit. Except that, unless they're Trump cultists, I would assume that they're doing this already, right? Because just because you're burning an American flag doesn't mean that whatever else you're doing, you can't be prosecuted for. If you're burning the American flag in the course of committing another crime, in this case, assault, you could be prosecuted for that. That's not protected. Now, if you're just burning the American flag to make a point, that's protected speech. If you're burning the American flag and that burning constitutes some other kind of crime, say you go into, I don't know, say you go into a public building and you light the American flag on fire in there to make a point. Well, the fact that you're making a point doesn't really matter. You're also violating other laws. You're endangering people by burning something inside of a building like that. It's a fire hazard. It's putting people's lives in danger. Smoke inhalation. All this. You're committing another crime while you're burning that flag. So you could be prosecuted for that. And that's all they're saying in this executive order. Hey, if you're committing another crime while you're burning an American flag, we're going to prosecute you for it. Well, good. I thought you were doing this anyway. You know, of course, Trump cultists notwithstanding, they're apparently exempt from criminal laws, at least at the federal level. And then the only other thing that this executive order says is that, hey, if we learn of a crime being committed and they're burning the flag in the commission of that crime, and it's not otherwise a federal crime, then I am instructing the Attorney General to inform whatever state or local jurisdiction has jurisdiction over that crime. So if it's a state crime and we learn of it, we're telling the state. Okay, whoopie friggin' do. Again, I would expect that that's happening already. The point is, he puts out this Truth Social post. And when he did this originally with the executive order itself, it was all designed it was to serve as a distraction. It's to make you angry. And of course, owning the libs is a big part of the Trump show. This is what his cult loves. And entertaining the cult is a big part of what he does and how he gets support. But it's also to distract from Epstein, to distract from the failing economy, to distract from, you know, anonymous masked thugs kidnapping people off the street and disappearing them and beating them, you know, to a pulp on the streets of America, you know, to distract from all of that. So this is to make you get angry. But really, when you read it, he's not actually doing anything. It's all bullshit. It's a complete 100% lie. Nobody's burning the damn flag anyway. So I want to be clear about this. You know, there's a lot going on out there, and we need to focus on the truly bad stuff. We need to not be taking the bait on these kinds of issues. And part of the problem, however, is a lot of the times he threatens to do something. And we don't know, oftentimes, whether he's actually planning to make good on that threat or whether it's just bullshit. Here he's pretending to do something. It's an executive order directing the Attorney General, blah, blah, blah. So he's actually doing something. He has this executive order, but the executive order doesn't actually do shit. And what he says on Truth Social that the executive order does is a lie, because the executive order doesn't do what he says it does. And he does this all the time. He issues an executive order, and then he puts out a Truth Social post, or he says something about what he just did by executive order. And then when you take what he says he did by executive order, but then actually read the executive order, 99 times out of 100, what he says he did by executive order, he did not do. The executive order almost never says what Trump says that it says. So anyway, this is what he does. Don't take the bait on everything. We need to pick and choose our battles, because if not, we're playing right into his hands. He throws all this shit at us constantly so that we're distracted and we don't know what to focus on. And instead we get outraged over everything when most of this stuff is not even worthy of our time, let alone our outrage. There is plenty of stuff that he's doing that is truly horrible that we should be outraged about and that we should focus our attention on. But crap like this, no, we should ignore it. Anyway, that's it for now. Hope you all are doing well. Beautiful day, so I'm going to go enjoy it, and I'll talk to you again soon.